What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and this is my full hands-on review of the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge. So Samsung, along with the Note 4, also announced this device, which is very much similar to the Note 4 but with a bit of an edge. Anyway, because of that reason, it is very similar in a lot of ways to the Note 4, so I am going to be comparing it to the Note 4 in this video as well. Now, if you do want to see a full extensive review of the Note 4 and all of its features, then that will be linked in the description below. So how different is this to the Note 4, and does it have an edge over the Note 4? Well, do hit that thumbs up button and let's find out in this full hands-on review. And I promise that is the last bad joke of the video. Now, kicking off with the screen sizes, so the Note Edge has a 5.6 inch screen, which is slightly smaller compared to the Note 4, which has a 5.7 inch screen. But both of these have a Quad HD resolution, so you've got 2560 by 1440. Now, because you've got a slightly smaller screen on the Note Edge, it does come to a higher PPI, which is roughly about 524 compared to 515 in the Note 4. This is not something you can notice really, and it is a very minor. Now, the Note Edge does have 160 pixels extra, and those go towards the edge, so you do have slightly more pixels on the width of the Note Edge. Now, both of these screens are absolutely great and are some of the best screens out there. Some great vibrant colors and lots of detail, very sharp, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed with either of these. Now, because of the slight differences in screen size, there is a slight difference in terms of the size of the devices overall. The Note Edge is slightly smaller in terms of the height, 2.2mm, and it's also 0.2mm thinner compared to the Note 4, but it is 3.8mm wider, and once again that does go towards the edge. Now, they weigh practically the same, just 2 grams between them, the Note Edge coming in slightly lighter, and you've got a premium build on both of these devices as well. You've got a metal frame and a textured soft touch back, so you get a very premium feel when you're holding both of these devices in hand. But you've also got some grip because of that soft touch back, which makes it comfortable to hold, and they are not really going to slip out your hand or anything, a problem which you may get with some full metal builds. Now, the key difference in terms of the build here is the edge on the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge, which make it slightly different. So one of the differences here is the fact that you've got the power button on the top hand side of the Note Edge compared to the right hand side. Now, I would have preferred if they had just put the power button below the volume rocker or something, which would have made it a little bit easier to reach. Now, it's not the end of the world, but it's just something that I would have liked to have seen. Now, in terms of the internals, both of these are practically the same. You've got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 805 processor clocked at 2.7 GHz quad core with the Adreno 420 GPU and 3 GB of RAM. Now, the Note 4 does have an octa-core version available, which is not available on the Note Edge as far as I'm aware. Performance wise, both of these are absolutely great. I didn't really notice any difference in terms of performance. These are some of the fastest devices out there. You might notice a very slight lag on TouchWiz here or there, but this is nothing really worth mentioning. You've also got 32 GB of internal storage on both devices, and these are both expandable by 128 GB via a micro SD card slot. This is absolutely great and is a big plus for both of these devices. You're not going to be stuck with the storage versions that you buy. The cameras are once again practically the same. You've got a 16 megapixel rear-facing camera with optical image stabilization capable of filming 4K video. Quality wise, some great sharp detail, and both of these are exactly the same. They've got the same sensors, so you're getting the same results. The front facing camera, you've got a 3.7 megapixel front facing camera, once again exactly the same results, and you can get some very nice wide selfies, so they are going to be great for your group selfies or Wi-Fi's if you like to call them. Now, in terms of the operating systems, you've got Android 4.4.4, which is KitKat, and it does come with the TouchWiz skin on top. Now, both are going to be updated to Lollipop soon, but I would predict that the Note 4 will get the update sooner compared to the Note Edge, because the Note Edge does have that custom feature of the Edge, which will probably take a little bit more time for Samsung to bring the updates to you, whereas the Note 4 is a more mainstream device, and I would predict that you're going to be getting the updates to Lollipop and future updates as well to the Note 4 before the Note Edge. Now, TouchWiz does bring some additional features to Android, which are especially useful for this screen size of device, such as multi-window and pop-up window. Now, these are covered extensively in my full Note 4 review, so do go ahead and check that out. But the S Pen is something that I didn't find myself using much at the start, but I do use much more often now, and it is very, very useful. Now let's talk a little bit more about the Edge. So this Edge is independent to the main screen, which is really nice, so you can control it and also view it independent of the main screen, so it doesn't take up too much battery. So you can have things like your clock displaying at night, so you can see it at a glance, which is really nice. And then you've got these panels which you can select and also customize. Now the ones I have on and which I found really useful was firstly my favorite apps, so you can have shortcuts to your favorite apps on here which are easily accessible rather than having to scroll through your main screen. You've got your notifications which pop up on here as well. So I also put my S Health on here so I can see my steps and things straight on the Edge. And you're not only limited to the panels that are available by default, you can also download additional panels, and more panels will be available as time goes on and as more are developed. Now you can also scroll down from the top for some shortcuts, so you've got things like your stopwatch and a shortcut to your flashlight. And if your device is in sleep mode, you can simply swipe from left to right, and this is going to bring up your time and scroll through your notifications as well. Now the Edge is also utilized within certain apps. Now these will be just the Samsung apps. So for example, on the camera app, the controls all move to the top hand side, which is on the Edge, and this allows you to have your full screen to compose your shot. Quite a nice touch. Now the shutter button was easy to use when using the device with two hands, but as soon as you use it with one hand, it's in a little bit of an awkward position. The traditional center position is a little bit better, so I had to switch on tap to take a picture, which worked quite well. So overall, I do think the Edge is quite useful, and I do think a lot of people will be benefiting from it. Now one of the things that I've been reading up a lot and hearing a lot of people saying is that the Note Edge is the anti-left hand device. Now I would personally disagree with this, because you do have rotation mode, which means you can rotate it fully and use it with your left hand quite comfortably. Things like your home button and your back button come up at the bottom overlaid, so you can swipe up to access these as well. Now the other thing to bear in mind is that this is a large device, so it's a 5.6 inch screen, so most of the time I think a lot of people will be using this with two hands. Now I personally am right-handed, but I do tend to use my smartphone with my left hand. This is just something that I do, and I didn't have any problems, because most of the time when I am actually using my smartphone, I am using it with two hands, so I don't think this is much of an issue. If you are left-handed, I personally don't think you're going to have an issue with this device. Now looking at the batteries, you've got a slightly smaller battery on the Note Edge. It's a 3000 mAh battery compared to the 3220 mAh battery on the Note 4. Both of these are removable, which is great. Now in terms of usage, I got some great usage from both devices. The Note 4 does get the slight edge, I don't want to say that, but the Note 4 is a little bit better in terms of a battery life, and it does give you, I'd say, about 10 to 15% more usage throughout the day. I think most users, even if you are a medium to heavy user, you should get through the full day. And you do have fast charging on both devices, so even if you are a very heavy user, you are going to be able to get a top up very quickly. Now finally, looking at the price, the Note 4, you can pick it up for roughly about £600 here in the UK, around about $800 in the US. Now this is for the SIM-free offline version, just to give us an idea of the value of the device. Now the Note Edge does come in higher compared to the Note 4, and you're looking at roughly about £700 here in the UK, or around about $950 in the US. So you are going to be paying a little bit more of a premium for this new feature on the Note Edge. The Note 4 is a little bit more mainstream, and it's going to come in slightly cheaper. So there we have it, the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge. Now I would say that this is definitely the most unique device of 2014. Now year on year we see minor improvements to devices and minor changes, such as the screen size, resolution, the internal specs, the cameras, but it's very rare for us to see something drastically new and different. And I have to give it to Samsung for being brave enough to try something as different and as innovative as the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge, which I am all for. Now, is this device going to be for everybody? Probably not. I think this concept and variations of this concept are still going to take some time to become mainstream, but nevertheless this does give us a peek into the future, which is a great thing. I do think a lot of people will prefer going for the Samsung Galaxy Note 4, which is a little bit more traditional and also cheaper compared to the Edge. But I know a lot of people will want to try something different and will want to explore something a little bit more unique compared to a lot of other devices, and for those people the Note Edge is going to be absolutely perfect. What do you think of the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge? Do you think it has an advantage, I'm not going to say edge, over the Samsung Galaxy Note 4, or do you think it's just a bit of a gimmick? Well, do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button for me, it really does help me out. And why not subscribe to the channel? I've got plenty more content coming up on here. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV. I'll see you next time. If you want to see more regular videos like this one, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, which will be below. If you're on a mobile device, it may be somewhere else. If you want to see my previous related video, then hit the link right here. If you want to stay in touch over Facebook, Twitter and Google+, then all of the addresses will be there somewhere, as well as direct links in the description below. Okay, if you're still watching, then that means you've not done one of those things, so, you know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna go downstairs. See. Okay. There isn't really a downstairs. Anyway. So yeah.